This is 1, 5, and 1, 6, combining these here, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing real numbers. So our objective here is to find the sums and differences of real numbers and to find the products and quotients of real numbers. Okay, so we're going to get right into it and start with some examples using the number line model. I know a lot of you know how to do these without it, but we're going to go ahead and use the number line as an example so we know what that would look like. So 3 plus 5. Okay, and draw our number line here. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're going to start at 3, so that's our first number. And we're adding, so we're going to the right 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our final answer is 8. B, 3 plus negative 5. Okay? So I'm starting at 3. Now normally with addition you would go to the right, but then we have a negative, so we got to go opposite of that and flip it back left. So we're going to start here and go back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be good if I wrote these numbers and then I went to 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. So our answer is negative 2. Okay. Number line here again. So negative 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we're starting at negative 3. We're adding, so that's going to the right. Now we're not adding a negative, so we're going to keep facing that right. We're going to go 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Answer is positive 2. Last one. Start at negative 3. And again, we're adding, so that would normally mean we go right. So I'm going to face right. But I'm adding a negative, so now I need to turn back around. I need to go opposite of the direction I was facing. So now I'm facing left, and I'm going to go left 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oopsies, 5. Go back. 5. So my answer is negative 8. So you notice all these problems had different answers, and it all depends on where the negatives are and the positives are in the problems. Okay. Absolute value, adding another twist. A number's distance from 0 on a number line. So it doesn't matter if we're talking negative or positive, how far is it from 0? And with distance, we don't refer to negative distance. We refer to distance in the positive manner. I'm 3 feet. I'm 4 feet. You might say to the left, to the right, or behind, but we say it in positive terms. Okay, example 2, adding real numbers. So what is each sum? All right, negative 12 plus 7, negative 5. So they're opposite, they cancel out. Negative 18 and negative 2, same side, so we're going to add negative 20. Negative 4.8 plus 9.5. Opposite signs, so we're going to subtract. Should get 4.7, and the bigger number is positive, so it's going to stay positive. Now, back to fractions, if you remember those. 3/4 plus -5/6. We cannot add those at is. To add and subtract, we need a common denominator. So I'm going to pick 12 because the smallest number for that both 4 and 6 go into is 12. You could do 24, that's fine, but then you're going to have to simplify at the end. So times top and bottom by 2. Top and bottom by 3 here. 9/12 plus -10/12. Then you add across the top or subtract, depending on the problem. So 9 plus -10. Opposite signs, so we're going to end up subtracting. You get 1, and the bigger number, that 10, is negative. So your final answer is -1 as well. Okay, more vocabulary. Opposites, numbers with opposite signs and the same absolute value. So 4 and -4. They both have the same, they have opposite signs, but the same distance from 0. They're 4 units away from 0. Additive inverse, a number and its opposite. So 4 and -4, opposites, additive inverses. They all mean the same thing. 0 pairs. Bunch of different names for the same thing. Alright, inverse property of addition. This is getting into that 0 pair I was telling you about. For every real number, A, there is an additive inverse, -A, such that when you add them, it will equal 0. So those opposites, those 0 pairs, when you add them, or you add its inverse, you will get 0. Alright. Subtracting with real numbers. So remember, subtracting is a little different. You gotta watch the signs. So -8 minus a -3. So if you were on a number line, right, at -8, minus would mean we should go that way, right? But now you have a negative, and negative means opposite. So now we gotta flip back around and go the opposite direction, which really means we're gonna end up adding, right? That double negative there. So -8 plus 13, you get a positive 5. 3.5 minus 12.4, opposite values. So we're going to subtract, should get 8.9, and the bigger number is negative. And the last one, really easy, 9 minus 9, you should all know, is 0. Alright, adding and subtracting real numbers. So this is just making sure you can interpret the words on things. Okay? A reef explorer dives 25 feet to photograph brain coral and then rises 16 feet to travel over a ridge, before diving 47 feet to survey the base of the reef. Then the diver rises 29 feet to see an underwater cavern. What is the location of the cavern relative to sea level? Okay? So, starting at sea level represents 0. So sea levels are always at 0. 0 feet. That's how they measure elevation according to sea level. The diver dives, so that means we go down, -25 feet. Then he rises 16 feet up before traveling over a bridge and diving, again going down 47 feet, to survey the base of the reef. And then he rises 29 feet. Okay? We're just going to take this one step at a time. 0 minus 25 is that negative 25. Plus 16. Opposite signs, so we're going to subtract. We get negative 9. Minus the 47. Same sign, so we're going to add. So that's negative 56. Plus the 29, opposite signs now, so we subtract, and we should get negative 27 feet. Now you can either say negative 27 feet, or, remember we can use our words, we can say 27 feet below sea level. So be careful with Math Excel on this one, they might get picky with how you type that in. Okay? Alright, multiplying and dividing, just a quick reminder of your rules here. Essentially, same signs, you have positive, answer, different signs, negative. And that applies for multiplying and dividing. Okay. So negative 12 times 8. 96, different signs, so it's negative. 24 times 0.5, remember 0.5 is kind of like half, so it's 12. Both positive, so my answer is positive. Negative 3/4 times 1/2. Across the top, 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8. Opposite signs, so it's negative. And this one over here can get tricky. So because it's in parentheses, we're taking everything in there times 2. So negative, or not times 2, 2 times. Negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9, because same signs, positive. Now, I always have students get hung up on this. What if it was negative 3 squared, like this? Well, the number they want you to square here is just the 3. There's no parentheses saying include that negative here. So really, 3 times 3, is 9. And then you have to add back in that negative. So the parentheses do matter with exponents, so you need to be careful with them. Alright, simplifying square root expressions. So this negative square root of 25. Well, if we think about it just as the square root of 25, we know that answer is 5. Just tack the negative back on. Same way with the fraction. Remember, we got to think of these separate. So square root of 4 is 2. That's your top. Square root of 49 is 7. That's your bottom. Add back in your plus or minus. And it could be positive or negative 2 7ths. It's just faster to write plus or minus on there. Alright. Word problem with division. A skydiver's elevation changes by negative 3,600 feet in 4 minutes after a parachute opens. What is the average change in the skydiver's elevation each minute? Okay? So about how far does he go each minute? Okay? Well, negative 3 divided by the 4 minutes, right? Take the feet divided by the minutes, you'll know how much she goes for each one. Now, you should be able to do this mentally, just kind of block off those zeros for a minute and think 36 divided by 4. 9. Tack those zeros back on. Same signs are different. They're different. Negative 900 feet per minute, right? We just found it per 1 minute. Alright, last vocab here. The inverse property of multiplication. This is essentially reciprocal. So for every non-zero number, there is a multiplier inverse, 1 over that number, such that when you multiply them, you'll get back to 1. In other words, a number times its reciprocal will equal 1. Okay. So example of division with fractions. Fractions within a fraction. You can't see that yet. But the value of x divided by y. Well, x is negative 3/4. We're dividing all of that by y, which is negative 2/3. Now remember, there are two different ways to do this. I like to rewrite this so then I can leave, change, flip. So negative 3/4, because I can't really divide with fractions. We have to change it into a multiplication problem. So multiply by the reciprocal, right? Now we go straight across. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9, same signs. And 4 times 2 is 8. The final answer is 9/8, or 1 1/8. And that is the end of 1, 5, and 1, 6.